Hi, thank you so much for joining me today for day 30 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. And today's sketch, the penultimate sketch, has been designed by Heidi Zacharuk. I'm so sorry if I've butchered that, Kathy, if you're watching. Her sketch is gorgeous, and I wanted to make a companion page for the one that I created yesterday of us on our holiday. This is a photo of Mum and Dad at the same time on the holiday. So I've started off with some sage green acrylic paint and just smeared that over with my palette knife. And now I'm going to do exactly the same technique that I did yesterday with the photo, using an emery board or a nail file to just scratch the edges to create a slightly distressed look without having to add a mat. Now I'm actually going to create most of this layout with just this one piece of paper. I'm using the Heidi Swapp Sun Chaser range again, and I start by tearing down a strip of the pink. And you can see I did half with the white showing and half without, so I'm just trying to work out what I have to do to get it the right way. So just tearing a strip of each side of that, and that will create the first panel on this layered section that Kathy has in her sketch. So just pulling both sides off, and then I can rough up the edges. And then next I'll come in with the yellow section. As you can see there, I'm just checking that the pink's small enough to go over this yellow section of this pattern paper. It's such a clever paper, and this is a really good way of using it by separating out the colours. So I'm just going to check that I'm happy with the placement, check the photo fits nicely on there, and then check it fits on top of the paint. And you can see it's a bit too wide, it covers most of the paint. So I'm just going to pull off a bit more of this more tealy yellow piece and try again. And I just keep trying until I'm happy with the final look, and I know I'm going to bend the edges up, so that's fine. So now I'm just going to stick all this together, and then we can start working on the photo mat. And you can see here now that that's a much better fit, so I'm happy with that. So now, as I say, while that acrylic paint finishes drying, I'm going to create the photo mats behind the photo. And I'm going to start by using this last piece of paper. I love these tealy blues. So just trimming a piece off, and then I'll trim another piece off the same size to create a double photo mat. Once they're glued together, you can't tell that it's actually two separate pieces of paper, and it looks really effective behind this photo. And then I shall continue layering up. Kathy's got a few different layers angled behind her photo, but I didn't want that look for my layout, so I've just kept them as multiple layers behind my photo. So now that mat's stuck down and I'm happy with the size, I'm going to go in with my Tim Holtz edge distresser and distress all the edges of this paper before I carry on. So now I'm just going to have a play and see how to build up those layers. I really don't have a lot of this collection left. In fact, what's left of it is going to Julian Aubrey. So I'm just playing about with the scraps of 12 by 12 papers that I have left, and I've still got some 6 by 8 pads as well, paper pad pieces as well. So just having a play, working out exactly how I want these layers to go. I definitely want to bring that green star paper in and some more of the pinks. I love this peachy pink star paper, so that will be brought in as well. So just tearing off the edges, and I have to trim off that branding strip. And then I think when I've done this, I can start layering everything up. And where Kathy's got the cluster on the right hand side of her photo, this layout is going to go on the right hand side page of my album, so I'm going to bring that over to the left, and I will actually bring the layout from yesterday in so that you can see how they're nice companion pages. So just starting to glue everything down, and I will use my edge distresser to distress all the edges of all these papers just to add loads of texture, and it really is a very dimensional layout, this, the same as the one that I did yesterday. Right, gathering and clearing all that dust. Loads of paper dust always when you use that Tim Holtz edge distresser. So you can see how nicely that sits on top of that strip that I've created. So now it's just a case of sticking everything down. And I'll go from the top down. Just checking where this green piece went. And even though I layer it up like this here, as soon as I start pulling the layers apart, of course I forget exactly how it went, but it all looks nice in the end. I don't know why I faff so much before starting to stick it down. I frustrate myself sometimes. But just having a look and checking. I'm sorry about the angle. I sometimes forget I'm recording now. I get lost in what I'm doing and forget that I need to hold things more straight to the camera. So I think that pretty much is the placement of how everything goes now. So I will start gluing it down. Right, here we go. So just using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, I want a nice permanent bond because these papers are so warped from all the distressing. I decide that wet glue is probably the best option. And I just peel up the layers and add the glue. Giving it a good press after each application to check that it adheres. It doesn't take long for this Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to create a bond. It is a very good PVA glue. I don't think there's too much water content. I think that's what makes the difference. So now that's all matted together, I can look at sticking everything down. And here, as I say, is that companion page that I created yesterday. So just checking that the yellows are right and seeing what else I can bring in. And then I'll start building up that layer on the left hand side. So again, just bringing in the scraps that I've got left to start building things up. I definitely want to use this ticket, this label, it didn't make it yesterday, so I do want to use it on today's layout. And I want to bring in some of this yellow because we've got the yellow on that companion page. That's a bit too long, so I'm just going to trim the edge off. And that's much better. Now thinking about what else I can do here. So back to the main part, and I'll just stick everything down. Now I know that I'm happy with the way I'm building up that embellishment cluster on the left hand side. It's time to get this stuck down so that everything can be put in the correct place. And I'll stick this down with my Sticks 2 foam pads. Just straight down the middle, because I've pulled the edges of that strip up that this is sitting on top of. Just the foam pads in the middle will help it to stay puffed up, if you like. So there's a circle element on the sketch. You can see on Kathy's just to the right of the photo, so mine will go just to the left because I've mirrored what she's done in the sketch. Just roughing up the edges with my fingernail. I'm not exactly sure what to do with this, so I just place it there and forget about it for now. I'm not happy with that paint splotch above it as well, so that will be covered eventually. So just coming in again to distress these edges because everything else has been distressed, and getting this first layer of this cluster down. It's amazing what you can do with scraps of paper, isn't it? Keep your scraps and use them. I was having a discussion with somebody in the comments. I don't know whether I use my scraps because I'm frugal or whether I use them because I'm a little bit lazy, and why cut another piece of paper if you've got one already cut for you? Answers on a postcard. So I didn't feel like that photo was quite straight, so I'm just coming in with my T-ruler to check, having pulled it up, that it is now straight, and then I can keep going with this and glue it down. I really want to bring in this "Life is so good" tag, but I'm not happy with the colours along the bottom of it, so in the end I decided to just chop those off and use it as a white tag. And now I've done that, it does look much better there. I think it was just too many colours when I wanted to layer. It was a little bit too long as well. So again, just roughing up the edges with my nails. An edge distresser would do the same thing, and then punching the hole to add my thread, and you'll see my struggles. So this is just a grey linen thread that I've got, that I'm going to thread through the top hole and then bring it down through that hole on the yay tag as well. So just want to get this tied into place at the top, and then I'll bring it round to the bottom. And now that thread's tied and sort of in place, I can glue these two tags down. So just making sure that I don't get the thread caught underneath while I'm gluing them. And then sticking the yay tag to the "Life is so good" first, and then sticking them both down. And I'm happy the way that that's building up. So when this circle falls out, remember I need to do something with that. Just find another scrap on my desk and see if that can be incorporated. Of course it can. And it's nice to bring a bit of that pink into the left hand side, because we've got a lot of the yellows and greens but not a lot of the pink, so this strip does that perfectly, and also guides the eye across to the main photo. So now it's just a case of a little bit more embellishing. So just having a look to see what I've got, and we start with the sticker book. I do like these clear words, and I love the word strips. So this one just says "Living the Good Life," and again it's bringing that pink into that cluster there on the left hand side. And then I like the look of this one that says "Chill." So I add that next to this circle. It doesn't actually stay there in the end because I find something that I prefer, but that would have looked really nice if there wasn't another thing to put there. And then onto the puffy stickers. A couple of hearts are always good as little scatter pieces, and I commit to sticking that circle down now. I think I'm going to add this tab, but then I decide it's a little bit too big and clunky, so I'll go for one of these semicircles, and that one just says happy. And I'm just trying different pieces. I think that I want to use this Wandering Roam, but it's not quite right for the photo, and I do find something else in the end. One of my flare badges from Hey Little Magpie, and it just says family time, and that ties in really nicely because it's a double page spread of us with mum and dad. And then just using a bit of Nouveau to glue that corner down, and that flare actually acts as a really nice anchor point for this. It was floating a little bit there. And then I find this heart in the sticker book that says chill, and I think that's much nicer. It's bright and colourful, fits in much better, so that goes in place of that clear chill sticker, and that can be saved for another day. And then I'm going to come in with this wonderful, just bringing it down a little bit, and I fiddle a bit because I want to get it straight. And there we go, that fits nicely, and I just bring this heart up a little bit to overlap, and that joins the cluster nicely together. And now I'm going to look through the definition stickers and see if I can see anything, but there's nothing there that really grabs my attention. So here are the two layouts. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please check the description box down below to see the playlist of everybody else joining in on this hop. I'd love it if you give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy watching my videos. Other than that, I shall see you tomorrow for the very last 30 days of sketches. Thanks so much. Bye for now.